This is Harry Judd for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. We're here in Hyde in Greater Manchester. I'm delighted to be joined by the man himself, Ricky the Hitman Hatton. First of all, how are we?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, good to see you.
Good to see you too. You've been away, Tenerife, for a month, but you look in absolutely incredible condition.
Yeah, I went away for a month. I always go away in August to Tenerife, you know, with the family. Yeah. But obviously, I went in training, you know, for my exhibition, which sadly got postponed. It should have been July 2nd. It got postponed. And I think everyone can appreciate how hard I'd worked, all the weight I'd lost, and you know the shape that I got into, and that, you know, and then it was all for nothing. Well, I wouldn't say it was all for nothing, because I feel very proud that I've inspired people with with my mental health, how I was able to get in shape and lose my weight and stuff like that. So it wasn't for nothing, but because I'd worked so hard, I thought, no, sod it, I'm going to have a month. So I went there for a month. But I run every day, kept my weight down. As you can see, I've come back and I'm, you know, I've kept my weight off, bearing in mind of normally when I go to Tenerife for a month, I normally put 2 stone on. But so to be in the shape that I have done shows how I said, you know, when I was training for me exhibition first time round, that it was going to be a lifestyle change, yeah. and it has.
You are known for blowing up and down in your career. I spoke to Blaine earlier on. You've lost 3 stone, but this is not the biggest weight difference that you've done before.
No, I've lost 3.5 stone in the training camp for this one, but I think the most I'd ever done was 4.5 stone, which was, you know, for me comeback fight against Senchenko, which ironically was 10 years ago now, which makes me feel old. But I feel I'm in better shape now than when I was for the Senchenko fight, because I mean, I had at the time, the reason why I did make a comeback against Senchenko, because I'd sort of like battled all my demons, you know. I'd come through a lot of lows and a lot of really dark moments. Yeah. But even when I did make me comeback, there was 2 things missing from my life still when I made me comeback against Senchenko. Was I hadn't made up with my mum and dad, and I hadn't made up with Billy Graham. And it was hard, you know, to be in the corner again with you know, without Billy Graham, and then looking down at ringside where the seats where my mum and dad used to look. You know, when the fight started to go against me a little bit, all I wanted to do was look round where my mum and dad was, and they weren't there. And it was, and my head fell off a little bit. And I think that's why I was a little bit under. I've always been under mile an hour, but I think that's why I put my foot down a little bit too much in that fight, and ultimately. But I mean, now Campbell's gone professional, you know. I'm a granddad, you know, got a lovely little granddaughter, made up with my mum and dad, made up with Billy Graham. So even though it's 10 years on, I think I'm in a better place now than I was then, and I intend to show it on November 12th, yeah.
We must mention Matthew's boy Jack won at the weekend. The name Hatton carries on even more.
It's unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? I was a little bit worried. I didn't want my son to turn professional, but you know, it's something that he's dedicated to. I think he's got a talent in it, and if I didn't think he could do well in it, I'd have told him not to bother. But yeah, I didn't want Campbell to go into professional boxing. I think I speak for Matthew. I don't think we wanted Jack to go into boxing, but Jack's gone into boxing now, and I feel sorry for my mum. Because my mum, the whole family never wanted Campbell to get into boxing. We never wanted Jack to get into boxing, and then I make a comeback. So I think my mum's head fell off a little bit, to be honest with you. But no, I think my mum and dad and family and friends, you know, obviously, you know, we never want to see our loved ones get punched or get hurt. But I think it's made myself and Matthew into the men we are today, boxing. You know what I mean? Whether you have 1 fight, 101 fights, what you benefit from boxing. And whether Campbell and Jack have 1 fight or 101 fights, whether they become champions, whether they don't become champions, I think it would stand them in good stead in whatever they do in life. And I think that's a sport that boxing always brings the best out of people in that way.
Does this take you back to your first amateur boxing fight? 'Cause initially you did kickboxing before you did amateur boxing. You fought in Windus, your first fight. Just take us through your memories of that one.
Well, I did kickboxing first, and I've always been a little short ass, you know, so I wasn't much good with my kicking, you know, but they could say I had a talent with my fists, so I got advised to go to boxing, and it basically started from there. I won 9 national amateur titles, boxed for England schools, England youth, England senior, got a bronze medal in the World Juniors, and so then eventually with them titles I turned professional, and had some wonderful times, which is well documented about the big nights that I had. But even I still remember every single fight, every single punch to this day, like my professional debut in Widnes, my second fight, Madison Square Garden on the undercard, and Naz Kelly, and Everton Park in Liverpool, and just all over, to be honest with you. The Velodrome, Manchester, very, very loads of happy days, and the fan base was probably my proudest ever achievement. I think my heroes will always be my heroes, like Frank Bruno and Mike, Nigel Benn and people like that. They'll always be my heroes. They're still my heroes now. But I think my greatest achievement was the fan base I had, because my fan base ended up being better than my heroes, and I don't think you can ask for better than that. So so that was always my fan base, and we did it together. You look at the posters in around here. It was me, Michael Gomez, and Anthony Farnell back in the day. That we flew the Manchester flag, higher, and obviously I went on to a little bit further than Anthony and Michael. But very proud to say that Anthony and Michael helped me. We helped each other actually, but it helped us build the fan base together coming through, as youngsters at that young age.
This fight is a celebration more than anything, isn't it, with you and Marco Barrera? There's meant to be music, meant to be acts on. What's this fight mean to you?
It means a lot to me, because it is more of a celebration. One, because I nearly wasn't here a few years ago. I tried killing myself. I was so depressed. It was really upsetting times for my local community, my family and friends, to see me absolutely crumble after so many big times. And I think it's a celebration because we've all had tough times with the lockdown, with COVID, and during that COVID, mental health. I've lost friends through COVID. I lost family through mental health. And it's been a tough time. So when I got the phone call saying, listen, it's been a depressive time for the nation, for everybody, what would be better to put a smile on people's faces for Ricky Hatton to do an exhibition bout one last time at the Manchester Arena. We was thinking about against someone like Marco Antonio Barrera, and raise a bit of money for charity, and say. It was an easy decision for me to make, to be honest with you, And if there's one person that turns around and says, God, remember the size of Ricky a few years ago? He was, heavy on the drugs, he was heavy on the drink, He was depressed, he wanted to kill himself, he was sat in the pub crying every night. Remember him? And then to see me in the shape that I've got myself in, and the condition that I've got myself in, and to put on a fantastic exhibition, entertaining night with someone like Marco Antonio Barrera, if that inspires people, to who have mental health, to get off their arse, pull the finger out and try and do something positive in order to shake yourself out of it, like I did, then it's been more than worth it, hasn't it?
November 12th, is that correct, what the fight date is? What can we expect from the undercard with that?
Well, they're going to have, it's the Manchester Arena, but also last time Hughie Fury was going to not share the same bill, but the same venue, the boxer promotions were going to have their boxing promotion first with the undercard, and then they were going to have me as a special feature, a separate special feature after the boxer show. And I believe on November 12th, the Manchester Arena, as you can imagine, is one of the greatest arenas in Europe. It's fully booked, but it's available on the 12th, and I believe boxers still want to share the venue with us on November 12th. But Hughie's fighting, I think, end of October now. Good luck to Hughie. But boxers still want to do share the venue, on the same night, November 12th. So who they're going to actually put on their bill at the minute, I don't know, but the Manchester Arena's booked. I'm in training, Marco's in training. That's the date for my fight will be, and we just got to watch this space to who we're sharing the venue with, if you like.
This must take you back. I mean, you said about making you feel old. Apologies for this, but it's going to be the 25th anniversary of your first pro fight on Sunday.
Cheers.
Yeah. But this must give you so many memories in terms of boxing again and being back in the ring.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been a massive journey, and I know it got postponed, But to get in the shape and the conditioning what I was, and to be doing the pads again and the bar bag, and trying to training alongside my boxers, which I start again tomorrow. On Wednesdays I join in and work with my boxers. But I mean, keeping up with the little whippersnappers and being able to do it was a big thing for me. And then to spar with my boxers and just
Campbell as well. We know what's going on there.
Campbell, that was I've done a lot of great things in my life, but I never thought I'd go into a training camp alongside Campbell and be sparring with him. And it was very, very emotional for me. He invited my dad down, and my dad, he was just stood leaning on the bar there crying. He said, I never thought I'd see my son and my grandson sparring. I thought, gee. But that's what it's been. And I think the family, because they've seen me, how low it got, and to see me in such a positive move, in such a good condition, and such a positive frame of mind, I think it makes the family very, very proud. It makes my team very proud, because the team who've been there from day one. They've seen the bad times, and just when I go in a pub or a chippy just round my local community, or meet my local manor here, people are coming up to me, putting their arms around me and practically crying and going, "You're looking so well, Ricky," because they saw how bad it went. So it's been a winner, all the way. And I think the fact that it got cancelled and I kept in shape, I think I'll be even better come November.
Sticking with the positives, you mentioned your son Campbell, a great performance last out in Sheffield. Again, fantastic bodywork. Do you see similarities in how he fights in comparison to you?
Similarities in not just his his style, but his mentality. I think in his last 2 fights, he's always started the fight well, nice and controlled. Could judge a distance with his feet, nice and relaxed. And he ends up hurting him early, which because he's relaxed. But then he can't help but get carried away, and a little bit like his dad. To be honest, I was like that. I got carried away. I used to start off good, then get carried away. I used to get cut. Thankfully, Campbell doesn't get cut like I used to do. But he starts off nice and relaxed, and then he starts going in the trenches a little bit lately. But I mean, he goes from Sugar Ray Leonard to Rocky Marciano in 2 rounds, Campbell. Because his mentality is, I've got you. But eventually, what I was doing early on in the fight, I was able to maintain it with experience. Do you know what I mean? And Campbell, what you saw Campbell in the first round of his last fight, he was sensational. And just giving him a little bit more time, a little bit more experience, he'll be able to maintain what he did in the first round. And when he does that, I think he's going to have a good chance of getting there.
We've got Chloe standing left of me. Ibrahim's obviously now left after the training session today. When can we next see both of those out?
Yeah, well, Ibby's out in, I think, about 4 to 5 weeks.
October, in Oldham, isn't it?
In Oldham, yeah. And Ibby had his best performance of his career last time. Boxed a kid from Manchester who very rarely gets stopped. And Ibby, he was brilliant. I think, he had a bit of a tough start in his career. I don't think he was quite listening, and I think he found it a little bit difficult to adapt his style to from the amateurs to the pros, which
he was such a good amateur, wasn't he?
Yeah, which is the same for everyone. But his last time, he was brilliant. He looked strong, he looked powerful, he looked fast. Every punch in the book he was showing, And he stopped someone that very rarely gets stopped. And Curtis the Gargano, who's a friend of mine, was a good journeyman years ago, was a good trainer now as well. He said, "Gee, we didn't expect that, Ricky." So Ibby's seems to have slipped a gear in the gym lately and in his performance. So long may that continue. And Chloe obviously is. I think Chloe's fighting in about 5 or 6 weeks. I think she's got now. Yeah.
October, I think.
Yeah. On the Ben Eubank bill. So what a great opportunity for Chloe there. I mean, last time she impressed everyone really well on terrestrial TV on Channel 5. Everyone was talking. It was the fight of the night, which she was. She fought a really good opponent. That made her think a little bit, what I mean, which was a brilliant learning fight last time. But with her amateur pedigree, and she's a very, very special talent. She's getting better and better, stronger all the time. And I think I'd be surprised if we're not looking at a world champion there. To be honest with you, obviously a lot more boxes to tick as you go along. You've got to prove. Not just for Chloe, for all of us, because we all have to tick them boxes as we go along. But I think as she does, given time, I think she'll go straight to the top.
That Ben Eubank bill, though, we have to speak about that because Nigel Benn was one of your heroes when you started boxing. How big is that fight at the O2 in October?
Well, it's ironic, really, but I started boxing and I never really took it serious until I went to the Nigel Benn Eubank fight at Old Trafford. I was 15 years of age, paid 75 quid for a ticket and was on the back row. It was, I couldn't see now. It was, but I always the roar of the crowd, I thought, oh, this is what I want. This is what I want, And I used to see Nigel Benn so ferocious, so attacking, so just he had you on the edge of the seat with every attack. You know what I mean? And that's the reason why I knuckled down to boxing and started taking boxing seriously. And when you think now, all these years on, that you think the two sons, Conor and Chris Eubank Jr. are going to be fighting each other, it don't bear thinking about. The dads were the person that got me into boxing. Now the sons are fighting, and my son's fighting. Like I say, it makes you feel old. But yeah, and there's it's that catch weight, isn't it? Chris has got to come down a bit, Conor's got to move up a bit, and everybody's a little bit uncertain of how the result will go because of the weight situation. But fair play. A lot of pressure on Campbell's shoulders, a lot of pressure on Conor's shoulders, a lot of pressure on Chris Eubank Jr.'s shoulders. But listen, they're there, aren't they? They're in an absolute mega fight. So I mean, with having dads, what they've achieved, take a bow, boys. You've done yourselves very, very proud. To be under, I wouldn't say, well, maybe under the shadow a little bit, but to still be.
Do you think they're still
to still be where they are, and to be in a fight of this size? Well done.
Do you think they are? Because I'd argue that all three are out of their father's shadows. They've all made names for themselves. Yeah, do you agree with that?
Well, I think, listen, they should be out of the father's shadows, all three, just for giving it a go. When you're in the hardest game of all, with Campbell having me as the dad, Chris having Chris as his dad and Conor having Nigel as his dad. And, they didn't need to. We worked hard so our kids didn't have to, but they still worked to give it a go in the hardest game of all. And it pisses me off when you see, granted, only the odd few, that'll turn around and go, oh, you're not as good as your dad, or you're not this, or you're not that, you're not that. I think they want their heads punching in, to be honest with you. How can you not, say, how can you not look back with the pressure that they're under and not just stand back and just say, fair play to you, lads. Whether you make it or whether you don't, fair play to you. Because they've got it so tough, and it's a credit to where the level Conor and Chris have got to, and obviously they both want to go to that next level, which is the world title level, and good luck to them. And Campbell is a few bit of progress behind them two boys, but I think I speak for Conor, Chris, and Campbell. The majority of the support is very good, is very positive. It's a shame you're always going to get the odd few that'll have a little bit of a pop and a dig, and I just think, why? How can you have a pop and a dig? You should be getting a pat on the back. You should be saying fair play to him. But it's the world we live in, and good luck to all three of them. I think tell you what, I'll always pat Chris and Conor and Campbell on the back, whether they make it or whether they don't, because the pressure they're under. Fair play to them.
I spoke to Conor at the press conference. It's now reported that Eubank Senior will be in Eubank Junior's corners. That means Nigel and Chris Senior will be both in both the corners. How interesting, how fun is that? Yeah.
So they're not having the usual trainers, fathers going to go in as well.
How fun's that going to be?
Yeah, show business, isn't it? This game these days, isn't it? You know what I mean? But listen, it must be tough. I think I'd find it hard to go in the corner with Campbell, but if Campbell wanted me to go in the corner, I'd be there for him. But as it happens, it's all worked out for the best. I manage him, and Matthew trains Campbell now. And to be honest with you, even though Nigel and Chris go, who, as long as they can cope with the nerves and everything and that, who knows them better than the fathers, or in Campbell's case, the family, who knows them better than me and Matthew. So it's so I think there's far more worse people you can have in your corner than Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank, isn't it? But I think No, I think and it just listen, and if it sells a few more tickets and it makes it more exciting, the billing, which it obviously clearly will, that's the game we live in now.
You've been different than both Eubank Senior and Nigel. You've kept well away, especially now. There were some times where you were present, but only a little bit when Campbell started. Why did you take that route and stay away from it all?
No, I mean, I think I've always, I mean, me and Matthew always, we trained with Campbell. He trained at his amateur gym, and he used to come and do a little bit with me and a little bit with Matthew. And when it come that we decided that he was going to go pro. In fact, I remember having a conversation with Matthew in Tenerife ages ago. I said, listen, if he does go pro, he's a bit of a way off now, but if he does go pro, I said, I'd like you to go in the corner. I won't think of anyone better, to train him. And then when he did decided to go pro, that's what happened. Matthew trained him and I managed him, and it absolutely works brilliant. And we're a very, very close family. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Matthew, whenever he needs to ask me anything, he'll pick up the phone. Rick, what do you think about this opponent? What do you think about that? What do you think about this? Campbell, likewise, you know what I mean? I might not be his trainer and I might manage him, but I mean, he knows I'm always there to pick his brains. Matthew as well, you know what I mean? And, it's all worked out, for the best. It's because I mean, I always, I said to Matthew years ago, I said, I'd like you to train him, Matt. I couldn't think of anyone else better to have him train him. But then I started doing a little bit with him, and if Campbell had have said to me, "Would you do the training, Dad?" I'd have obviously, I'd have had to pull my socks up and go with it. I don't know how hard I'd have found it, because when I sit at ringside, I'm like a nervous wreck. So the fact that Matthew trains him now and I manage him, it was taken out of my hands, and it was all for the best, because I think deep down, a few years earlier, that's what I always wanted. Yeah.
Will he be your sparring partner for your fight in November 12th?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, once he's back. I've come back from Tenerife. He's back into the first week. This week, I've started my weights, I've started my bar bag, started my pads and that. Get a few more weeks under my belt, and then I'll start sparring. I think I'll start sparring a little bit earlier than what I did last time for the last training camp. And Campbell's, Campbell hasn't got a date yet, but by the time, I'd like to think he'll be fighting before me. Or if anything, certainly round about the same time. So no doubt we'll be sparring again. I think there's no better thing. I sparred with Ibby, I've sparred with Jack, I sparred with Bet McGrinty, and there's no better way of teaching or helping or teaching your opponents than getting there and sparring with him. If one's dropping the left hand, you can. You can get in there and actually, you show them on the pads and that, but what better than having your coach get in there and spar with you? I don't think you can get better than that. So
I did wonder what that shiner was on Ibrahim's face. I did wonder what that was.
And to be honest with you, for them, needs to say, they certainly get me sharp. You know what I mean? That's the one thing. When I got in and I sparred with me lads, my fitness was good, my strength was good, but I mean, it took me a while to get used to judging the distance, them little whippersnappers, so, but no, it was great being able to train with my boxers, spar with my boxers, spar with my son. Josh Warrington come down and had a move about and a work about with me, do you know what I mean? The support that I've got from not just me boxers and my team and family, friends and my local community. I think just boxers in general. Tyson was never off the phone, you're looking great. Josh Warrington come down and train with me. I was getting, the comments on my Instagram, you're looking well, Rick, from everyone, all our boxers, all our champions and that, make me feel very, very emotional, very, very proud.
You mentioned the heavyweight division. We have to speak about what happened a few weeks ago with AJ Usyk. What was your initial thoughts on that fight? Arguably, it was AJ's best performance.
I don't think he could have done any better. I think with AJ's style, I wouldn't say he's muscle bound because he is very, very quick. He's very explosive. It's not that, but I mean he's very upper body, thick set, and probably, if anyone is similar frame or build or style to him, fights AJ beats him. But when you've got a little small heavyweight with speed and movement, a little bit of a whippersnapper type, like Usyk is with the ability, it's always going to be difficult, for AJ. But he was a lot more positive. He went to try and win this time. When I think last time he went to outbox the boxing master, which was totally the wrong tactics. And I think he realised that, and he was a lot better. And I think he did us proud. A lot of people say the opposite. Well, no, I think differently. I think he gave him a go. I think he tried to hurt him, and I think because, you know, with Usyk, with his speed and movement, obviously there's a lot of time where AJ would have been hitting fresh air, but I mean, not just AJ, anyone with Usyk with the movement. And I think he didn't have the gas, the energy in the tank in order to put his foot on the gas and finish the job. You know what I mean? It's, you know, because Usyk, but he did hurt him. He was very good. And I think he put in a performance he can be proud of, to be honest with you. He did his best. And, you know, he just fell short a little bit. But, I mean, the manner of the performance, and bearing in mind what a prolific champion Usyk is, I think there's a lot more good fights out there for AJ. You know, another fight with Dillian White would be another good one. You know what I mean? Tyson, you know, Deontay Wilder, that'd be another cracking fight. And he's proved he's got it in him to mix it with them. More than got it in him, yeah.
Is that where the after-fight reaction came from? Was it just a load of emotions? The fact that he did everything he could, or he thought he did everything he could to beat Usyk, but it still wasn't enough. Do you think that's why he conducted himself the way he did after the fight?
Boxing's hard, and people have the say on the situation, and I think sometimes, you know, I mean, hang on a minute, you know, you've never been in that situation. You've never been in a boxing match. You've never been in a boxing match at that level and that pressure and that, you know, thing on. So, you know, it's very easy to judge when you've not done it and you've not been there and that, you know. But I think AJ, when he watches it back, he will think to himself, shit, I went a bit over the top there, I should have kept it, you know. But I mean, how can you know, emotions are all over the show, a lot of pressure, there's a lot of, you know, a lot at stake. I think his team could have done more for him. Because, I mean, he was stomping around the ring, you know, like, not saying he was going to kill someone, but it looked like he was going to kill someone. You know, he was going up to the opposition's cornerman, you know, the team in the corner, and, you know, giving it, you know, a little bit more heavier than what he should have been. And then he threw the belts out the ring, and then he was getting a little bit, and you could see he was getting a little bit anxious. And I think, you know, his team should have, you know, someone should have gone and put an arm around him and say, come here, AJ, let's get you back to the changing room. But no, nobody did it. They let him carry on storming up and down round the room. Nobody come and had a whisper in his ear saying, listen, son, calm down. You've done proud tonight. Calm down now, you know. No, they allowed him to storm around the ring, and then they allowed him to get the microphone and just, you know, how someone never stepped in and gone, get that mic off him. You know, come on. And I think it's about having the right people around you. And I think... And I'm not, and AJ has got, you know, good friends around him, no doubt, you know, family around him, you know, the 258 team have done a great job. We also work with Campbell. I just think you could see him on the verge of losing it, and why wasn't anyone there to step in and, you know, and just put the arm around him and say, calm down, son, come on, let's get out of here. I mean, the stuff he was saying on the mic, it was all irrelevant. It was just, you know, you could see he was just having he was having one of them bad moments, and somebody in the team should have gone and prevented that from happening, I think.
Do you think Eddie Hearn should have done more in those instances? It's hard, isn't it? Like, I think Eddie's come out and said, look, would you get in the way of an 18-stone man like Anthony Joshua?
I don't think it's Eddie's job. I think Eddie's the promoter and Eddie's doing his job, and Eddie is very close to AJ. I bet Eddie maybe sits back and thought, I wish I had have jumped in and maybe done something, but it's not Eddie's job. Eddie's the promoter. You know what I mean? The team that are in his corner, that work with him every day, day in, day out, every day in, day out. The lads that are carrying his belts are obviously his friends and stuff like that, you know. There must have been someone there other than the promoter. And don't forget, Eddie's got enough on his plate, you know, to concentrate and looking after his fight. That corner, that team in the corner, your job is to look after your boxer. Did they look after him when the final bell went? Did they act right? Did they fuck? I don't think they did anyway.
One of the men who used to train in this gym, Tyson Fury, got a good relationship with him. You know, now, arguably, it's the Fury-Usyk fight. Take us back to when Fury was in here, just after his, I don't know how to explain, was it breakdown maybe, or his time away from boxing, let's say. Did you ever think that he would get into the ring and, well, again, be world champion? Just picking this back up. So, yeah, did you ever think that Tyson Fury would get back into the ring when he was training here all those years ago?
I didn't, not a chance. And I think most people thought, before they made me come back with Senchenko or even this exhibition, I'm sure they thought the same about me. But I didn't. When I didn't go out every week with Tyson, but every now and again I'd bump into him in Manchester, you know, and he was about 22 stone, and I was just getting over my bad patch, and Tyson was, I don't know, just starting it or in the thick of it or whatever, but he was about 22 stone. And he used to have a beer and he'd say, I'll be back at it next week, mate, back in the gym, going to be back in training next week. And I used to, say, oh, yeah, and I used to think, oh, nice camp, nice Tyson, but I used to just think, just don't bother about the comeback just yet, just get in shape, you know, get yourself on the straight and narrow and that, you know, but anyway, I'm not saying he went straight back in the gym next week, but he, whenever it was, he got himself back, sorted himself out, got himself back together, shed all that weight, shed more weight than I've ever shed. I think he shedded 10 stone, wasn't it? It was incredible. And yeah, you know, I mean, I'm fair play to him, and to get his mental health on track and stuff like that, it was good to see, and he never ceased to surprise me, even though when he made his comeback, he had his, you know, comeback fight, then he had one in Dublin, I think he had a 4-rounder, a 10, was it 4-rounder, 6-rounder, 10-rounder, then Wilder. You think, oh my God, that's a bit too soon, Tyson. When you see the performance he put in against him, and we thought he got the draw, we thought he should have won it, but when he got knocked down, you know, in the second to last round and got up and come back in the way he did, you know, and again, you know, like I say, I think there's the mental health side of things seems to inspire so many people because we're boxers, I think. I think Frank Bruno inspired people, you know, because the mental health, yeah. You know, and myself, and they say, God, what Tyson Fury, Frank Bruno and Ricky Hatton got to worry about, you know what I mean? The boxers, that, you know, but no, and it just shows, you know, if we can suffer from it, you know, anyone can suffer from it, but if we can get back from it, you can get back from it, and I think that's what I'm very proud, and I think I speak for Tyson and Frank, very proud at the job we've done, because people can look at it and say, Jesus, these are boxers, these are supposed to be hard men, you know what I mean, and look what they've been through and look where they are, and that's the whole purpose, and that's the whole purpose of my exhibition, really. I think people can say, wow, fair play, Ricky, you know.
Because Tyson won the heavyweight, beat Klitschko, and won. Yeah, his lifelong dream was to win that title, and got it. And it didn't give him the satisfaction, and then it was like, what do I do from here? And that's where then the spiral came from. Where did it come from with you? That
There's numerous things, you know. I was devastated after the Mayweather defeat, and then I made a comeback, City of Manchester Stadium, so I was down for Mayweather, I was up for City, but then I fell out with Billy Graham, so then I was back down. Then I beat Malignaggi, Nolan Liam carried the belts in, so then I was back up. And then I got beat by Pacquiao, then I was back down. Then I fell out with my mum and dad, so I went down further. And then ultimately I had to retire. So I've got, no Billy Graham, I thought, I've no mum and dad, you know, I've got no boxing no more. What have I got to look forward to now? And that's when I took a nosedive, and it was a bad one, yeah.
Do you think this fight you're having, do you think that's going to be, is that going to be it for you? You know, what happens after that?
I haven't looked that far forward, to be honest with you. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, people say about that, you know, it's bigger gloves, it's less rounds, it's shorter rounds. You know, that's the thing with comebacks. You know, nobody likes seeing the heroes make a comeback and take a bashing or a beating. And thankfully, the fact that it's an exhibition and it's not a legitimate boxing match, then that won't happen. You know, so that's so people get the chance to see myself and Marco showcase our skills again in an entertaining. Because I think I speak for Marco, we won't want people going home falling asleep. Do you know what I mean? You know, it's got to be entertaining, but I mean, there'll be no liberties taken, and it'll. And the fans know they're not going to see the hero get hurt or blasted or knocked out, and I think that's. So I'm all for these. I'm all for these exhibitions. I've not looked that far in the future, to be honest with you. I mean, they've had that many things go wrong and right in the past, and that I think you've got to take each day as it comes, and you know. each the next day make it your best day, and then whatever goes on from there, that's what'll happen.
Well, we really look forward to that in Manchester. But going back to Tyson Fury, Frank Warren has said he's going to submit a written statement to try and order the AJ fight in November. Again, we all thought that fight might be gone now, but it seems it's back on. What was your initial thoughts with that one?
I don't know. I mean, Tyson said he was going to retire, but I always take what Tyson says with a pinch of salt, doesn't he? We all know Tyson. He's and I'm very proud to call him my friend. You know what I mean? He's regular on the phone to me. How you doing, Rick? You all right? You great? Or how you feeling? Oh, Campbell's done well, hasn't he? You know what I mean? He's a gentleman. But sometimes, sometimes, you don't know what to believe, what comes out of his thing. But I do believe Tyson in the sense that Tyson wants it. All Tyson has ever wanted from present day to years gone by was to be the best, to prove to everyone he's the best. And I think he has proved that he is the best. I mean, a lot of people will say Usyk now, I don't know, but I think he deserves the right to be in front of Usyk, with what he's done. But I don't think Tyson will want to hang them gloves up, in all honesty, until he's found out once and for all between him and Usyk who's the best, or even him and AJ's the best. Because I mean, listen, that'd be the biggest fight in British boxing history, and that's what Tyson wants. He loves the spotlight. He loves the adulation, and and rightly so. He works hard for it, and for where he's come from, if anyone deserves it, it's him. But I don't think he'll want to retire unless he's if it be Usyk or if it be AJ. I think before he retires, he'll want at least one of them. I think he'd like the both of them, but I mean at least one. So I think we will be seeing Tyson again.
Rumours are it'll be in Britain. We don't really know whereabouts in the UK it will be, but is that the biggest British boxing fight of all time?
I'd say so. Yeah, there has been some big ones. I'd have much liked to have saw it when they were both unbeaten, because then categorically, without a doubt, it would have been the biggest fight in British boxing history. I think it still might be the biggest fight in British boxing history. Two heavyweights. I mean, God, it was only like a few years ago. You know what I mean? We didn't even know the name of a British heavyweight. No disrespect, but now we've got Dillian White, Joe Joyce, Tyson Fury. You know what I mean? It's Anthony Joshua. It's a very, very, great time to be a British boxing fan, certainly in the heavyweight division, but I think in British boxing in general, I think we've got a lot to be proud of in this country, and none more so with the big guys, yeah.
And finally then, if I could get your prediction on that fight, how does it go down?
Well, AJ and Tyson. I think Tyson, and I think most people would say Tyson, and that's not to say AJ has not got a chance, because I mean Tyson, won't forgive me for saying he's been on his backside a few times, against Wilder and and a few others. So you never know what can happen. When you're hit with AJ, and AJ's lost twice to Usyk. So I mean, I think AJ could go into that fight with a lot of pressure off. You know what I mean? Because I mean, legacy cemented, 2 times heavyweight champion of the world. Do you know what I mean? Olympic gold medalist. Do you know what I mean? Coming off 2 defeats, so everyone's obviously going to think Tyson's, they're going to be the favourite. So he could go into that fight nice and relaxed, confident, nothing to lose. And you never know, he could surprise us. But I think, everything that Usyk has got, the movement, the ability, the footwork, the distance, do you know what I mean? I think Tyson's got everything as well. But Tyson's got the size, the height, the reach, the ability, it's a bigger Usyk. So ultimately, I think that would make me pick Tyson over AJ. But the heavyweights, you can never say never. Like you say, I think AJ would have nothing to lose in that fight if that fight happened, wouldn't he? You know what I mean? Legacy always cemented. Yep. Just go out there and throw the kitchen sink at it. AJ could do, couldn't he? And you never know. If he did do, you never know it could come off because it's the heavyweights. But I think, we'd have to just still go with Tyson, I think.
Ricky, an absolute pleasure. Thanks for talking to boxing.